What's up, everyone? Two All Anonymous here, chilling out, playing some Mario. I know, but it's better than watching that mask the whole time, though, right? Well, no one really knows much about who I am, so I thought I would kind of let you know a little bit. I became down a couple years ago when one of my friends let me borrow the great Milenko album, and when I started it, I couldn't stop listening to it. It was pretty much the most epic album I've heard in my life. You know, I don't get me wrong, like there's some good albums out there, but there was something about the great Milenko that held my attention from the start to the finish. And I've heard some ICP songs back in high school. A few of my friends were down, and I never really knew much about them. I think the only songs I really knew were like Under the Moon, Homies, and I want to say What Is a Juggler. I think I've heard that one a few times before I actually heard it on the CD. I liked their music, but I never really knew much when it came to the whole Joker's cards or anything like that. So anyways, my friend and I were chilling back one night with a few other friends, and he started to explain everything to me. And instantly, when he started telling me the meaning behind the Joker's cards, I got goosebumps. I mean, this was some shit that no one else in the music industry was doing. Everything everyone else was putting out, as far as their albums, they were just putting them out. And they would have maybe like 2 or 3 really good songs that they would play on the radio, and the rest of the album you'd be like, hey, okay, this is okay. ICP, however, whenever I listened to their albums, I couldn't stop listening. But it was just something about the great Milenko album. Like it came in with that intro, and you're like, all right, this is all right. And then as soon as the great Milenko dropped in, you're like, I just pooped myself a little bit. You know, like that's how great it was. Okay, well, maybe you didn't poop yourself a little bit. I didn't poop my. Anyways, but I'd have to say off the whole album, How Many Times is probably like my favorite. You know, especially when they're saying, you know, how many times have I asked myself why? How many times? Like something about that. It's just that song and Halls of Illusion. That is a very good one too. They're all really good songs. Don't get me wrong. I mean, let's see what else is on there. House of Horrors, What Is a Juggalo, Hocus Pocus, Piggy Pie, Down with the Clown. They're all great. They're just all great. I really can't pick one, but if I had to, it would either be How Many Times or Halls of Illusion. They say when you first get into ICP, that's all you really want to listen to. I wanted to know more about what was going on with each card, so I ended up buying one album of the Joker's deck a week whenever I would get my paycheck. It intrigued me, and like I mentioned, it was something I've never heard before. After this point, I pretty much fell in love with the whole ideas they represented. But you know what was kind of shitty about it? Some people stopped hanging out with me because of the fact that I did like ICP. And it's not that I was talking to them about it constantly. I would never really bring it up unless they would bring it up. Or like that I was playing their music every time they would come over, hang out, and shoot darts. That wasn't even the case. But it was just a simple fact that they didn't want any part of it. They knew the basics about ICP, like that their music talked about killing, stabbing, and all these other topics that no one else really rapped about or was singing about. I mean, rappers, they talk about killing and stuff like that, but not in the sense that ICP did. And I wanted to explain that, yeah, you can scratch the surface and try to see what's underneath it, but to fully understand the meaning behind them, you need to pretty much get a sledgehammer and break through that bitch. Yeah, you can scratch at the surface, but you're only going to be able to interpret the little bit amount that you can see. Whereas if you break through, you can fully see the full picture and understand the message. Well, anyways, that's a little bit about me and when I became down. And damn this Mario game, I'm sorry I'm so horribly horrible at this. But for now though, fam, whoop whoop,